From the Huntington Bank Studio, this is Colts 360.
We just have to approach the week like we're 2-0. Yeah, it's a big game, but that's the mindset that we have to have, you know what I mean? You can't let this thing snowball, into going to 0-3, 0-4, 0-5 or whatever. I mean, we got the right guys, in the building to turn this thing around, and I know we can, and we just got to approach the week like we're 2-0.
We started 0-2, but, to get to the playoffs, you have to win these games. So at the end of the day, we just got to make sure that we're on our P's and Q's and taking care of this week, because what matters is this week.
Obviously, their go-to is just handing it to 22. So we got to do a good job, from the start to finish. Just hammering out the run, because they're going to keep going to it. You know what I mean? And I mean that's their bread and butter. So we just got to make sure that we continue to out hit them.
The first divisional matchup of the season and first road game for the Colts as they head south to face the 1-1 Tennessee Titans on Sunday. I'm Lara Overton, and this is Colts 360. Coming up in the show, conversations with head coach Frank Reich and kicker Rodrigo Blankenship. But first, we take a look back to last Sunday for that epic battle in the trenches between two of the NFL's best on both sides of the ball as Quenton Nelson was mic'd up against Defensive Player of the Year Aaron Donald.
Let's go, Q. Let's go, Q.
Come on. We're starting right now. Hey, Brian.
Great game, man, all right? Good to see you, bro.
Look at the glasses, man. You're going to see everything today. Let's go, Depot. Let's go, Big Grove. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We can go. All day.
What you got for us?
Just came to play today, baby.
Yes, sir. Come on. Let's go play. Woo! I just want to. Oh, yeah!
Here's the snap, ball down, kick is up, has the distance, end over end kick is good.
Attaboy, Hot Rod. Attaboy, baby. Attaboy. Keep chipping away, boys.
We're good. Keep going out there. Yep. Keep them going.
R5 on their 5. Yep. Lock them up.
We're aware of it now, though. Sean and I talked about it, right?
Did I give you a compliment before the game about your glasses? See everything? And that's how you do me. Push a little bit harder. Push a little bit harder. Push the pile, everything. 11 of us executing. Let's mash them. Let's mash them. In the run game, let's go. Hey, is it 1st and 10? First down, first down, first down.
Wentz throws upfield into the end zone. Zach Pascal, touchdown! Touchdown! I-N-D-Y! An 8-yard touchdown pass from Carson Wentz makes the score 17-12.
Go, boys.
Out of the gun is Wentz. Fakes a handoff to Nyheim Hines. Wentz fires at the goal line. Doyle on a tip drill caught the pass and rolled across the goal line for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, Jack!
Joined for our weekly conversation with head coach Frank Reich. Coach, I want to take results and record aside. You've spent a lot of time with this team dating back to the offseason, of course, but given these two games, what have you been able to learn about your team through the first 2 weeks of the regular season?
We got the right guys. And what makes me say that is the chemistry, the fight, the finish. But sometimes, you're getting better and you're not seeing the results. And you just got to be patient. And I think our players, what I love is the healthy dissatisfaction that they're feeling right now. And how much this is irking all of us because we have very high expectations for this season. So I have no doubt we'll continue to get better.
And the very high expectation that your players hold themselves to, none more so, I think, than Quenton Nelson. And I spent some time talking with Q last week, and he mentioned there's not a sense of panic in this team whatsoever because you know, as you said, you have the right type of guys. You're in it for the long haul. This is a team that's going to be gaining ground over the course of this season. There are a ton of stats that you can look to and people can turn to about going 0-2. How important is it to keep the perspective of, one, those are based on a 16-game season, and also the fact that, you know, it all starts with winning your division, and you have yet to even play a conference game yet.
Yeah. No, those things are all true. In fact, I had someone just send me a stat before I walked in here that said that starting 0-2 is really not much different than losing a 2-game stretch anywhere in the middle of the season, just a very slight difference. So there's no panic in this team because we know who we have. We know it's a long road. I know you're a runner, so and we always refer to this as a marathon, the season as a marathon. We're at mile marker 3, you know. I mean, we're at mile marker 3 right now. So I don't think anybody's panicking.
2 great games upcoming to kind of wrap up that first quarter of the season, and that begins on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. But before we go to that big divisional matchup, I want to look to last Sunday against the Rams. Zach Pascal, his 3rd touchdown in the first 2 games of the season. Have a stat right here. Since week 15 of last year, ZP leads the league in receiving touchdowns with 6, especially with the absence of T.Y. Hilton to start the year. How big has Zach Pascal stepped up to be such a force in your offense?
Yeah, I mean, he is, and I love it because he deserves all of it. He just worked hard. He's willing to do whatever is asked of him. He's an incredibly unselfish player. He's the first guy in there blocking for them. He's just a team guy, but yet he's incredibly talented. And you know, when you get down in the red zone, he's just a very nifty and crafty route runner, and that's what it takes sometimes down in the red zone.
You had another great nifty route runner in Michael Pittman Jr., who had career highs in receptions and receiving yards on Sunday against the Rams. From last season, it seems like Michael Pittman has had an additional motivation after having that time he missed in his rookie season, really almost wanting to make up for that and being motivated by the way he came on at the end of the year. Where have you seen that investment from Michael Pittman starting this season?
It started in the offseason. I remember last year after that Buffalo playoff game, and then him coming into my office before he left, and I was just wanting to see what his plans were for the offseason. And when he walked out of my office, I said to myself, that guy's as motivated as anyone I've seen walk out of my office after a postseason loss. So he put a lot of time into training and conditioning and getting stronger in the offseason, wanting to be just an explosive beast out there. So I'm hoping that's what we're going to see all year long.
And we know Carson Wentz sustained the ankle sprains on Sunday, and that Jacob Eason stepped in, of course, in the latter part of that game. I know that you don't have a lot of time necessarily to do the developmental stuff in the course of the season when you're game planning and doing all of the things that you are. But when you do have the time in the film room, in the meeting room, how much do you enjoy investing the time in developing a young quarterback, especially being a guy yourself who was in the situation, going in, preparing to be a backup, maybe stepping in to start a game if the situation is called upon, or stepping in behind a guy like Carson Wentz?
Yeah, no, it's fun. And really, that's a team approach. It's myself, it's Marcus Brady, and it's Scott Milanovic. All 3 of us played professional quarterbacks, so, and all of us have been backups. So Jacob's got good resources there, but Jacob, he's handling it the right way. You know, he's a kind of a quiet guy, but man, he's very intense in his work. He's really, I can see him just growing every day, and I was excited for the opportunity. He had very difficult opportunity this last week, as hard as it gets. But if called upon, I believe Jacob will be ready.
Well, defensively, we know that the game plan always starts up front with stopping the run, and that challenge certainly no more great than with Derrick Henry, who you're going to face this week. And the Titans are 10-0 when Derrick Henry goes for 150 yards rushing or more. Where does the defense have to be most disciplined on Sunday in attempting to, as best they can, contain last year's NFL offensive MVP?
Well, I think there's 2 ways. You know, one is you still got to maintain that aggressive, be physical and aggressive, and at the same time maintain gap integrity, because he's got such great vision, he's got such great strength and burst that if you don't have gap integrity, he can find the open gap and then expose it and make you pay for it in a hurry.
Coach, always appreciate the time. Looking forward to a great matchup, a great battle. First divisional game, this one on the road Sunday afternoon in Nashville. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Larry.
The Colts organization has set a precedent for having really quality specialists. Obviously, you mentioned Pat McAfee and Adam Vinatieri as well. Having such an incredible career and doing some really incredible things for this team and organization. I feel like that really helped to establish that the fan base is really in tune and really loves their specialists. And so I feel like I'm very blessed and fortunate to be here and to come into an organization where that happens to be the case.
Coming up in the show, a special teams spectacle. Rodrigo Blankenship on the outlook for his sophomore season and how he remains poised in such high-pressure situations. Next on Colts 360.
Here's the snap, ball down, kick is up, has the distance. End over end kick is good. This to tie the game out of the hold of Rigoberto Sanchez. Snap, ball down, kick is up, has the distance, and it is good. Well done by the Colts on special teams in the second half, and we're tied at 24.
Back now on Colts 360 and joined by Hot Rod, Rodrigo Blankenship, preparing for that big showdown in Nashville. First divisional matchup of the year. And I want to go back a little bit more so to kind of this off-season period where you actually had some time to be in Indianapolis. Your rookie season was a little bit unusual because you were pretty much just staying at home or being at the facility. You had, very empty stadiums for the majority of the year. Mm-hmm. Now that you've been able to kind of spend some time around central Indiana, you and your fiance have settled in a little bit, and you had a couple of home games. Are you starting to catch on to just how much of a fan following that you have here in Indianapolis?
A little bit. I think I brought a pretty big following with me from my time at the University of Georgia. Obviously, I loved, being at UGA for 5 years, getting to play on the team and do some really special things there. And I know that Dog Nation has kind of followed me up here a little bit. But being here for over a year now, coming into year two, I definitely have been able to kind of feel the love from the state of Indiana and from Indianapolis. I live up in Carmel, and whenever I go out, I definitely have had some experiences with some fans where I definitely get to feel the love. So I really appreciate the opportunity that this organization gave me to come and play here. And I'm hoping that I can just continue to get better and continue to do some good things for this team and for this city.
What have some of those interactions been like primarily when people are kind of like, they figure out, they see you, they want to come up, they want to chat? What have those been like for you?
Sometimes we'll go out to a restaurant and, somebody might spot me from across the dining area, whatever, and they might come up and say hi or, want to ask for a picture. But, I really appreciate that everyone is always really courteous. Usually they wait until I get done eating and I'm getting ready to leave. And so I really appreciate that they just kind of, let me and my fiance Logan, we get to kind of, enjoy our meal in peace. And then on our way out usually is, when some of those interactions will happen.
And I know about that following you had at the University of Georgia, will continue to have, by that Georgia fan base, because I have relatives who live just outside Atlanta. They're major Dogs fans. And when you came to the Colts, they were so thrilled. That was the greatest reaction to any of our 2020 rookies that we had from internally within my family. They were so excited to see you now as part of the Horseshoe. Is there something unique a bit about the Colts fan base and the affinity that they have for specialists? Because we saw that with Pat McAfee, and it kind of seems like you picked up a little bit of that, where this fan base was wanting someone like that they could get behind, a great guy to cheer for and rally behind.
Yeah, I definitely think that, the Colts organization has set a precedent for having really quality specialists. Obviously, you mentioned Pat McAfee and Adam Vinatieri as well, having such an incredible career and doing some really incredible things for this team and organization. I feel like that really helped to, establish that the fan base is really in tune and really loves their specialists. And so I feel like I'm, very blessed and fortunate to be here and to come into an organization where that happens to be the case, where, the fan base is really behind their specialists. I know that Rigo and Luke get a lot of love as well. And, people definitely are, I think, realizing more and more how good that they are. They're two really elite guys at their positions as well and do really good things. And if you look across the board at, comparing them to some other guys at their positions across the league, they rank right up there at the top. So I feel like I've just come into a really, really great organization and just just come into a really great position to be in this city and to have this fan base behind us.
It is so fun to watch you practices, game days. I'm going to clue everyone in on something like you guys, the specialists in general, are the earliest out to the field and often, some of the last to leave. He's fresh off the practice field right now and put in some extra work after. It's interesting. You're in such a unique position where you have the entire spotlight on you in some really critical situations, and you're very methodical in your approach. What are those steps that you have to go through to get into the right frame of mind, especially when you're in a situation like, game-winning field goal type of situation on the line or whatever it is? Because it's a high-pressure situation, all eyes on you.
Yeah. I think that a lot of what goes into being prepared for that moment, it goes back to just having it as consistent of a routine and having your preparation, your process be as consistent as it can possibly be every single day. I try and make every part of my day as consistent as it can be, whether that's when I wake up, what my morning routine looks like when I get dressed, brush my teeth, go feed my cat, kiss Logan on the way out the door, everything, about my day I try and make as consistent and repeatable as it can be. And then when you get into the building, trying to maintain a consistent eating schedule, when you eat, what kind of things you eat. And then getting ready for practice, I have certain kind of prehab, as I like to call it, when I, go see the trainers and I get some work done to, get my body activated and loose and warmed up. So trying to make sure I'm doing all of those things. And then obviously when you get out to practice, I like to put on my uniform the same way every time. It's kind of been well documented, some of my, as some people might call my superstitions, but, I just call them part of my routine and process that I use to get prepared so that when I step out on the field, I know that every box has been checked. I've crossed my T's, I've dotted my I's, I've done everything that I can to be as consistent and repeatable as possible with my preparation, and I believe that leads to consistency with my performance.
And very consistent in terms of the results, all of those makes, the extra points, of course, the field goals, all of that. Hey, thank you so much. We know this is a big week ahead. First AFC South matchup of the season. Best of luck this weekend in Nashville. We'll see you down there.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of all of us who love this great game, to one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game ever, Hall of Famer, Peyton Manning.
A Colts celebration as both Peyton and Edgerrin are immortalized in football history. Still ahead, the most memorable moments from last Sunday as two of the all-time greats received their Hall of Fame rings at Lucas Oil Stadium. Next on Colts 360. Already members of the Colts Ring of Honor, both Peyton Manning and Edgerrin James added some new rings to their collections on Sunday. Colts owner Jim Irsay and David Baker from the Pro Football Hall of Fame on hand to celebrate both Peyton and Edgerrin as they received their Pro Football Hall of Fame rings. And Colts Productions was there for those halftime highlights of two of the newest Canton enshrinees.
Just always saying thank you, and I appreciate my years here.
Gives Edgerrin off the left side, cuts it up the middle, and gets to the end zone. Touchdown, Edgerrin James.
It doesn't really take much.
Around the edge of it, it says, I don't know if you can see that, it says Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I see that.
Because that's where your legacy will reside forever. Long after you are gone, we'll be telling the story of Edgerrin James.
With two of your all-time favorites, Edgerrin and Peyton. I don't have to say what these guys mean to us. They help make this town. We are so excited that they're both together, went in the Hall of Fame together, and now are here together before you guys to receive their Hall of Fame rings. We express our greatest gratitude.
Today, we're honored to celebrate the excellence of the Indianapolis Colts and two of the greatest players to ever play in the history of this game. It's a great reminder that this great team, that this incredible stadium, that this game that we all love was built on the courage and character of men like this. So on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and all of us who love this great game, it is my privilege to present his Hall of Fame Ring of Excellence to one of the greatest running backs who've ever played this game, Edgerrin James. On behalf of all of us who love this great game, to one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game ever, Hall of Famer, Peyton Manning.
To the city of Indianapolis and all the Colts fans, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to tell everybody thank you for embracing me.
My gratitude to Jim Irsay, the entire Colts organization, and all of Colts Nation is off the charts. Thank you all very much from the bottom of my heart. Go Colts.
Special thank you to both head coach Frank Reich and Rodrigo Blankenship for joining me in studio this week. And thank you for spending part of your weekend with us right here on Colts 360. Colts Titans 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. That's noon Nashville time for those of you making the road trip down I-65 for that AFC South battle. Next week we will recap that matchup in Nashville between the Colts and Titans and also look at this 3-game stretch of road games for your Indianapolis Colts. Have a great weekend.